So I thought I'd go through a little myofascial release for the hands. They're a part of our body we use so much, but we often don't give so much attention. And it can just be a nice thing to do to give them some release, to bring some more sensations, some more mobility in the hands. And also just to take a moment to really relax. When we're working with myofascial release, we're working with the fascia. It's home to a huge amount of the nervous system. And so it has a really big effect on how we're feeling, and it can be a really nice way of actually coming back to regulation. So you'll need some kind of ball. I love a tennis ball, they're nice and soft. You could use a rubber ball. Ideally something that's not too hard. And if you do go for something really hard, just maybe go a little bit more gentle. We want to be able to relax, we want to be able to soften. So we don't want to use something that's making us really wince when we start to roll and start to use some of these techniques. You can do this on a mat, on the floor. You often have to kind of move around your position a bit with that, or you could do it at a desk, a table, whatever works and wherever works for you. We'll begin with our right hand. We're going to place the very center of our palm onto the bowl. We can just lean in and maybe bring the other hand on top to add a bit of pressure. And we can just deepen our breath here. Maybe notice any sensation. And it's a real opportunity to listen to your body. So sometimes we'll start with a point and we'll just feel like there's nothing happening there. And we can always kind of move around a little to find if there's a perfect spot. There's somewhere that just feels like it does a little bit more. And then we can ease into that feeling of pressure when we find it. Maybe deepening our breath. And just trying to find a sense of softening, a sense of melting through our body, through our hand. Great, so we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to come over to this kind of fleshy part of our thumb. So we move down to this meaty section. And again, we can move around a little to see if we can find a spot that really works for us, and then we can lean in to that spot and just give it some attention. Again, maybe noticing our breath, feeling our breath become a bit slower, a bit fuller. And just seeing how the sensation is. Noticing perhaps that intensity as we begin, and maybe any shifting, any changing that occurs as we just stay. Great, so from here we're going to start to add a bit of movement. So we're going to do a kind of semicircular motion where we go from across the heel of the hand over to the little finger side, to the thumb side, going through those slightly more meaty mounds beneath the little finger and the thumb. So we can use our fingers on the mat to sort of anchor the movement as we start to semicircle from one side to the other. And we're working with a pressure where we feel like there's something happening, but it's never really uncomfortable. We could perhaps go up to a sort of medium level of sensation, but where there's still space to feel our breath and to invite a little bit of that softening feeling. And then from here, we're going to come just into that meaty thumb mound section, and we're going to do really small, fast circles here. They're moving around in this section, maybe noticing the sensation, what's happening here. Anytime if you feel anything sharp, move away from it. Do listen in. Sometimes it will have an achy feeling, a toothache feeling. It can be a kind of dullness. That's okay, but we want to stay away from anything that feels a little bit more on the sharp side. Okay, so from here we're going to do a one-directional roll. So we'll start with our middle finger. We're going to roll from our middle finger down to the heel of the hand with pressure, and then we lightly tap back. So middle finger to heel and tapping back. We'll do that one more time. And then we're going to come over to the index finger. So we do index finger to heel of the hand, lightly back. Pressure finger to heel lightly back. Coming to the thumb, pressure, thumb to heel, lightly back. We'll do that twice with the thumb. And then we come back to our index finger, back through the middle finger. And when we've done the middle finger, we come to the ring finger. This one's particularly good for lymphatic drainage, little finger. And then we stay with the little finger a little bit longer. We move back to the ring finger. When we come to the middle finger, we're going to change it a little. We're going to have the option to extend that roll down toward our elbow, lightly back. So extending the roll down the forearm, lightly back. And we can do that a few times down this kind of center from the middle finger toward the elbow. And then maybe we come over to the thumb side, so we come a little bit more on that inner part of the forearm as we're coming down. And then a few times, little finger toward elbow, lightly back. And we can adjust our position to accommodate this, so if we might end up getting on our knees, or if we're at a desk, we might just move things out of the way to just make a bit more space. And then the final thing we'll do in this hand is called scribbling. So it's just very, very light pressure all over, a little bit random. So everywhere's getting a bit of attention, but it's very light. Under the fingers, under the palm of the hand, the heel of the hand, the thumb. And then once we've finished that, we just take a moment to maybe sit and notice. Noticing the sensation of our right hand and our left hand, any differences. Letting our awareness move up through our right and our left arms, maybe up into the shoulders. Noticing anything through the right and the left sides of our body. Great, so we're going to do the same thing over on the left hand. So we begin with that first center of the palm point. We bring our hand onto the bowl, we lean in, we find a constant pressure we can work with. We might place the other hand on top, just to deepen that sensation. Just seeing what's there. Again, we can always tweak the position a little bit. Maybe coming back to the awareness of our breath. And then from here we can come to the thumb mound, so that fleshy, meaty part at the base of the thumb. And we can move around a little here, find a point we want to work with, and again we just lean in. So like I was saying at the beginning, these are really nice for taking care of our hands. Often there's research to show that it's kind of helping with mobility, with pain, with recovery, with performance. So there's lots of things that the myofascial release can work with, and that nervous system regulation. But the performance one can be a really interesting one. So if you know you're going to do something which is using your hands, the strength of the hands, strength of the fingers, it can be really nice to do some of these beforehand, to just wake up the hands and sort of help the whole hand, arm, moving into the body, the shoulder, the back, the belly, all these areas to be a bit more cohesive in how they're working together. So from here, we're going to start doing that semicircle. So we're going from the little finger to the thumb finger side of the hand, across the heel of the hand. We're making these sort of semicircles, allowing the fingers on the ground to kind of anchor the movement as we do this roll from side to side. And we just adjust the pressure to see what's going on. So our body is very rarely symmetrical. It can be a bit different from one side to the other. We might find one side feels like it's good to have a bit more or a bit less. That push down toward the bowl. And we move over to that meaty part of the thumb and we start to make some small, reasonably quick circles around here in that thumb mound area. Great. So we'll come to our one directional roll. We start with the middle finger and we go pressure, finger to heel, lightly back. Pressure, finger to heel of the hand, lightly back. Once we've done that a few times, we're going to start to move over to the other finger lines. So we can go through the index finger, over to the thumb, pressure finger to heel of the hand, lightly back. Do that kind of tap back. We stay a little bit longer on the thumb before we start moving our way back. We do index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and the little finger. We stay with the little finger a little longer. And then we start to work our way back to the center. When we get to the center, we can start to add that movement down toward the elbow. So adjusting our body or our space as we need to allow that bit more room for movement, longer roll. We're going pressure, finger toward the elbow, lightly back. Pressure as we move down the forearm, lightly back. So you do that center line a few times. And then we can come over to the thumb side of the hand, so we come a little bit more on that inner line of the forearm. We can come over to the little finger side, we come to the outer line, outer edge of the forearm. Just taking a few rolls there. And then that final thing that we do on this side is just that scribbling motion. So we do very, very light pressure all over the palm side of the hand, under the fingers, under the thumb. Giving everywhere a little bit of this very light, a little bit random pressure sensation. Great, and then when we finish that, we come to center and we take that moment just to notice. There may be more similarities, there may still be differences through our left hand, through our right hand. And maybe moving through our left arm and our right arm, shoulders, our back. Just noticing what's happening through each of the sides of our body. So I hope you enjoyed this short practice to take care of our hands. And if you try it and you enjoy it, do let me know. I'd love to hear. And I hope you have a nice day. Thank you.